Thanks. As usual, the call is public and recorded, so please be mindful of the comments you make and the information you share with the team. So first up, I have, thanks to Raj and the team, they have sent me a binary, a Docker image of LWC, their lightweight controller, their on-off replacement, and a set of instructions to go with it and deploy it with Voltha. So Raj, do you want to take us over and guide us through the contribution?
Yes, we can do that. Srikar will do that for us. What we have done here is, Andrea, as you know, we have provided you a tar file, which again I'll ask Srikar to go through what's inside the tar file. So, and then if there are any questions, then we can walk through them as well. And if you can then make it available for anyone else in the community, Andrea, it's a request from our side. If you can then make it available for anyone else, whether it is the folks from DTE or from NetSeat or Telecom or anyone else, then please make it available for them. Would like to sort of use the ONF team as the conduit point for all questions and answers. So with that said, I've got a couple of things. If we want to maybe agree upon, say, a couple of weeks to do the trial period for playing or testing with this, and then maybe we can come to some conclusions on the way forward. It's just a proposal. We don't have to answer it now. That would be one thing that we need to agree upon at some point, either today, if not very soon. And then a couple of other quick administrative items from me. You will see that for the LWC, the controller, the ONOS classic controller replacement, you will find Srikar and Abhilash, who's also on the call, driving that initiative. And then very briefly, for the other agenda item, the CPON, AnyPON high-level design, you will have Venkat from Redisys and Debo from Redisys, sort of, taking the lead from the Redisys side for those discussions. And this is just for you and for everybody else in the community's sake, so that way you know why we have all the people here and who is pushing for or will be driving as part of Redisys, from Redisys perspective, the LWC discussion and the CPON or AnyPON design discussion. Sounds good, Andrea?
Yeah, sounds perfect, Raj. Just to answer your first question, I've already made available the elements that you shared with me. If you see here, there are two links. One is a folder that everybody should be able to access. If you cannot access it, just do let me know, and I will make sure that it's shared with you. That contains the tar.gz that Radis shared with us, little bit of basic info, and then a document that Elia put together, and he will talk a little bit about it later. And the same document is here. It's basically the cheat sheet that Radis shared, announced a little bit with a few findings that we have done. We can share that already later, but I'll let your team take the lead, and then we can work on top of that.
Sounds good. Thank you. Srikar, if you want to just please run us through.
Sure, Raj, thank you. Yeah, hi everyone. Let me share my, should I share my screen, Andrea?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yep. Yeah. So, basically, I think we have last time we gave an overview of LWC architecture during last meeting and promised that we'll be providing the executable, and as promised, we have provided the executable as well. So there are few use cases that can be supported with the community Voltha, whatever we have, and I will let you know the tarball, whatever we have shared, has the below contents, as Andrea mentioned. One is the Redisys LWC which is a Docker image. And also we have shared another Docker which the LWC requires is a Redis as well. This is a open Docker itself, but because of the we thought the same version which we have tested is if it is used, that will be better actually. And there are the help charts that are used to pull the Docker images with the Voltha stack as well, which will start the LWC along with the Voltha. And there are few documentations we have made where the different use cases are verified from our side. So basically, this document captures what are the prerequisites to use LWC with Voltha. And there is a procedure which gives info about how to bring up the pods, as well as configuring and bring up the OLT as well. So this is the basic configuration we have used for basically this is for the DT workflow. It has info of the tech profile we have used for our testing, and the meter profiles that we have used, as well as subscriber profile. So with this configuration, the LWC pushes the flows as expected by the Voltha, and it configures the transparent flows at the OLT as well as on the ONT. So these are this is the step to deactivate the services as well as bringing down the pods. Similar configuration information is mentioned for the Top Telecom use case as well. So basically, the APIs are REST APIs, and we have to provide the JSON JSON as part of this API, and the contents of the JSON are similar to this. Basically, these are taken from the SADIS information that is used by the DT or Tata Telecom. And this is the test environment we have used for our testing with LWC. It has the ONL, the versions are listed here. We have used Voltha 2.8 for our testing. It can be used with 2.9 also, but we have not verified that. So the test case is for DT, it is single pbit with single jump port with HSI as transparent, and the expectation is the RG will send the tag coming from the RG is transparent. And for the Turf Telecom also is a single pbit, single jump with the unit tag as HSI. So the Voltha, the LWC, whatever we have provided is it will not support any of the specific events the operator might be interested in here. So yeah, we request all the team members to pull this LWC and start using it, and provide us the feedback as well, so that we'll know how it is performing in your environment as well.
And
so, any questions?
Thanks a lot, Srikar. I'll open up the floor for any questions that folks might have. I have to say, we at ONF already started playing around with it. So maybe if there are not any questions, we can show a little bit of what we have tried and the first initial things we have.
So I guess it doesn't include multicast yet. does it?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Does this Docker image include the multicast application or not?
So the LWC has multicast application as well, but as of now, the current LWC application may the flow that pushes towards the Voltha may not be compatible with Voltha actually. So by the time in few days, I think we'll make changes to the LWC such way that it can be it is compatible with Voltha.
Okay.
Mahir, as far as we have tried it with ONF, it does work on the HSIA of Turk Telecom, but we have not tried. We had it since this morning, European time. So we only tried HSIA for Deutsche Telekom and HSIA for Turk Telecom on VBSIM. But yeah, multicast is not there. There is some provisional multicast IGMP related elements that you can see if you play around with it, but we are not sure how far along that is supported. We will have to.
I can provide some comments there. A very good point, Andrea. The IGMP stuff is in there because we didn't want to take it out specifically. The only reason we did not provide in here is twofold. One, we believe it's sort of more or less mostly done, but we haven't had a chance to really test it, and we didn't want to provide any APIs, the helper documents like we did, for example, here, because we did not have a chance to do some basic sanity homework ourselves. But we are working on it. We are working on it. And as we have communicated to you and the rest of the Voltha TST before, we will release the IGMP code. And I expect that maybe in a few weeks, once we agree upon the way forward and then we release the code, you should have the ability to either look at the code if you get the code earlier, or maybe release a Docker image with IGMP functionality to play with. Depending upon whichever is faster, better, shorter. We will get it out there. But for now, we want to provide you guys an image to play with our controller that obviously, like I said, has IGMP functionality, but we just did not want to open it up for any testing right now because we won't be able to support it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mahir, yes. Absolutely, Mahir, because we are aware of your need for IGMP, Mahir, and once we make a decision that we want to go forward, what we want to push for, Mahir, is to get the code out ASAP rather than Docker images to play with. Because once you get the taste of what LWC can do in terms of scale or functionality outside of IGMP, then you folks are obviously welcome to take a look at the IGMP functionality. And I think we will have some work to do because we're implementing IGMP in a certain way that meets our own internal architectural needs, just like any other software, architecture design goes. We might have to, as a community, get some hands together on it to modify that to work with the community version of the code, if I may, just to be very open and upfront. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mahir. So if you guys want, we can show a little bit of what we have done at ONF. Elia has, since this morning, played around. So maybe, Elia, you can share your screen. Sure.
Yeah, it's good that you have already started using the binary, Andrea.
Yeah, and we do have a few questions, and we'll just go with that. So,
we managed to run the controller successfully, both with the included chart for the Voltha stack, so Voltha 2.8, and the master of Voltha. And The main addition, I think, to the instructions that were included with the controller are the instructions to run it with BBSIM to be able to simulate everything without an hardware OLT.
Yeah, so what Elia has done is just took the PDF, took the JSON files out and put them in the folder that is with this document is inside there, and also added the BBSIM instructions that you can see on the screen, and also did some like additions to the port forward, and also some device commands, and also some LWC initial CLI related elements. So this is, it's the same exact PDF that Shrikar was showing. It's just that we took it and made it so that everybody can consume it with BBSIM. It's also great that we tested it on master and it works on master, at least as far as we can see. It seems to be working on master as well. So that's a good element. I know that Elia has it running. So if you want to show the running one.
Yeah, I just brought it up. I don't know if everything is configured perfectly. So it may be my fault if something is not working, but we have the LWC running here with Redis. And this is the master Voltha chart with OF agent disabled.
The way we disabled OF agent is pretty simple. You just pass volta.replicas.of agent equals 0, as Ali is showing, and that just brings it to, it doesn't deploy it. So
yeah, and from here we can, following this document, we can try to provision the subscriber.
you create the device already?
Yeah.
Okay.
The device should be there already. So a couple of commands.
This is pushing the technology profile. This is actually one for every subscriber. It's just the first one. This is the meter.
Yeah, this is the
Bandwidth profile, yeah.
And finally the subscriber.
And maybe you can show the JSON
Yeah.
after you have provisioned subscriber.
And in this file was modified just in the NAS port ID to use the BBSIM port ID.
Because in the one that you guys provided, the Radis team, there was some Iskrat LONU, and it wouldn't work with BBSIM because the controller would not find the information that was needed to push the flows.
Yeah,
Sure.
and this should be enough to have flows configured. And this is from the side of LWC, and we, of course, we verified that the same flows are installed in BBSIM through BBSIM CTL and the Voltha stack.
Yeah, so this is the Deutsche Telekom workflow, Mahir, but we did verify the Turk Telekom workflow as well. There is, if you look in the folder, Turk Telekom.
I didn't upload it yet. I only uploaded the files for.
Oh, okay. Then we will add these Turk Telekom files that Elia is showing to the same folder. We just tried it a little bit before the meeting. As you can see, there is only one service, which is the HSIA. There could be additions to that we should try. We have not done so yet. And we have not tried this on hardware. That's something that we will have to do in the next few days. But at least from an initial test, this looks at least functional. I would say it looks good in the sense that it pushes the flows. It can talk to the upstream Voltha. We have not deployed any custom images of Voltha. And so I think this is great. It's a great contribution, a great start of the contribution from the Radisys guys and the Radisys team. So I would encourage everybody, as Raj and Srikar said, to take it, download it, play around with it, follow Elias' document. If you find something that doesn't work, it's not what you expect, or some of the instructions are not as exhaustive as you would like, then feel free to ping us or especially Raj and the team that they can maybe know better. Yeah, I would suggest to try this out. It didn't take that long just to get it working. I think it was pretty simple. It was fairly simple with just the hand charts. So I would stop there and ask and see if there are any questions from the team here. Okay, if there are not, we did have a couple of questions ourselves about this. So we tried the third telecom workflow, but there was no DHCP flow for the TT workflow. So and we tried to add the is DHCP required element, but we have not found that. And it was giving us an issue. So maybe that's something that we need to take a look at. And the second one was that if you try the device list, it does not show anything. Maybe Elia, you can share the screen again just to show this.
Yeah, sure, Andrea. I got that one. So we will check what the issue is with the device information. But at least for the DHCP, as of now, the DHCP flows are not compatible with the Voltha. But maybe we can provide you one new. We are testing it now. The DHCP one. I think that will be available very soon, Andrea.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything. This is just, preliminary findings that we have done.
Right.
And I was just throwing it out as it came with what we have done this morning. Don't get me wrong. This is great. This is great work that you guys have done, and also the fact that it works with the Voltha Master. It's very good for me because this is the target that we're gonna have within the new release. So that's very good.
Right. You can try with multiple subscribers, adding multiple subscribers and see how it is working as well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we will do that. One thing that we have not yet done, but we plan to do, and Theo and Girish and myself and Elia and Hardik will be working on this, is to possibly spin up a scale pipeline that in one way or the other, possibly with the Deutsche Telekom workflow, tries this at scale and sees how that goes. Right now we can push one stack of Volta up to 4,096 flows on 4,930 something flows on
4,032 subscribers.
Yeah, 42 subscribers, so a total of 16,000 flows. Maybe we can spin up something more than that and try it out. That's something at scale that we wanted to do in the future. But thanks for taking a look at the device one. And I expect things like this to come up as soon as people try it. So if you guys, especially the Netsia team, tries this, please do reach out to us or even on Slack. What I can do is to set up a channel on Slack for this. So let me maybe take a note, an action item on myself to do that. So people can ask, and I'll share the link to everybody in the meeting notes. Okay. Any further question?
I have a question about the instructions that were provided about the need to delete the content of the /data/redis folder, because I ran the whole stack without any problem, and I don't have any data in that folder. I was wondering why the instructions made it very clear that the folder should be empty.
So it is not because we are using it for the first time. If Redis is already deployed with a different data, maybe it may not be compatible with LWC. That is the reason why we have provided that instruction. We can ignore that if different data is there also is not a problem for us. As a preliminary stage, we wanted to make sure that the LWC which we are testing, the Redis has no information, but even though it has information, that is not a major issue.
Okay, thank you. That was very clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, are there any questions for everybody? Okay, then if not, thanks a lot for the great work, guys, at Radisys. It's amazing to see this this being shared to us and the work that you have done. So please, everybody, take a look at this image. We will try and run some tests at ONF. You can try and deploy it according to the cheat sheet that Elia put together. We will add the Turk Telecom workflow in there as well to make. We know it works. It's just a matter of copy pasting the commands to run it on BBSIM. You can run it on hardware as well. There shouldn't be any issue. Okay, so the next steps, I would say, let's spend a week trying this out, and let's use some time of the next TST to share some of the findings. Obviously, if you have information before that, please do send it on the Slack channel I will be setting up, and then we can take it from there. Srikar, Raj, if you have a new image that you want us to use because you have found things or you have tested more things and there is something that you want to share, as usual, feel free to send it to me, and I will make sure to update this image in the drive, and I will send everybody a note on the fact that we have updated the image.
Will do.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, thanks.
So then just to, I know you have established a timeline for playing and having a discussion next week, the 22nd. And I don't want to push anything here, but just I'm asking, do we want to maybe look at the 29th for a possible decision making, or so that way we have an idea for when we can upstream the code? Because once you give us the green light, then it'll take us some time to get the code out. And I know that our colleagues at Netsia are also looking at a certain time frame, Andre, as you have heard.
Yes, absolutely. So to me, it would be okay for the 29 to make a decision, but it's not just me. So I would like the Netsia team and the rest of the TST as well to be okay with that. So what we could do is we could say it could be the 29th, but it depends on the findings that we do this week. Would that sound reasonable, Raj?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So next up is a little bit of an update on the FTTB implementation that we are doing with Amit and his team and Deutsche Telekom folks. We have merged the OpenOLT adapter patch, the ONU adapter patch, and there's still another patch that needs to come for the OpenONU adapter for the subscriber workflows. We have tested the OLT and SADIS app extensively for the ANCP and management flows. We did put in the support in DBSIM for the new flag for the TrapOnNNI, DHCP TrapOnNNI VLAN. That's done. And there is also a further patch that needs to happen on the OLT application and RW core to always do the set VLAN. We have discussed this already. I also know that Hardik started taking a look at writing a sanity test. I don't have any further update, but Amit, Hardik, anybody that has any update on this, feel free to share.
Hi, Abhilash here. So the ONU adapter changes, we are testing it, so it should be out. It's already on the Gerrit, but the new change should come in within a couple of days.
Okay, great. Then we will do some further testing at ONF of that, of the whole, effectively the whole package. We will merge it, and then we will we'll create the sanity test that I was talking about, and hopefully that verifies the support for it in master nightly.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The next topic that I think we will spend a little bit of time on is the combo pawn support. Girish, do you want to take it away and share the updates that you have made during the past week around this topic?
Sure. Just give me a moment.
I can share the screen if you prefer.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah, just scroll down a bit. I think the flow diagram is where I did some major modifications. You might want to zoom in a bit. So what happens is as soon as, the various entities are mentioned in the sequence diagram here. So as soon as the pawn transceiver is plugged out, an event is pushed out to the DMI client saying that the event transceiver plug out. And this results in deleting all the objects containers in the model. And the DMI server would then would basically disable all the PON ports that are mapped to this transceiver. So in case of combo PON port, there will be two PON ports on the MAC device. And that would result in the PON port going down. Following that, you have ONU going down, and that would basically result in cleanup of the flow schedulers and queues. Can you scroll down a bit? And when the new transceiver is plugged in, the server sends out an event transceiver plugin, and this results in creation of the transceiver objects and all the containers in the model. Now, it's possible that the OLT can detect the type of the new transceiver, saying that it's a GPON, XGS PON, or a CPON. If it's not detected, it's indicated. It's basically indicated to the client when the objects are added into the model. So there's a field that is described down below, which basically says that the transceiver type is not detected. In that case, the client initiates an enabled transceiver with the new tech. So it basically sets the transceiver type on the transceiver object. So if it's already detected, fine. I mean, you don't need to make this call, but if it's not detected, it needs to be set explicitly. So in case of success, so what happens is the PON interface goes up, then everything repeats. So PON interface goes up, the menu comes up, the flow schedulers and queues are reconfigured with the new technology information, and everything works fine. But if it's not a success, existing failure mechanisms would come into place. The failure is indicated to the caller. And again, this may require manual intervention, or it could be done via just API calls, going back to the previous tech. Sometimes it may not be possible to go back to the previous tech. Say, for example, if you have combo PON, and you still have combo PON and you want to go back to GPON, that would work. But if you have a GPON and you want to go back to combo PON, that may not work. In some cases, it may need manual intervention, and in some cases it's not. But anyway, the failure is communicated back to the caller, and corrective actions can take place after that. Yeah, so I don't have the previous diagram here, but this is the latest sequence diagram that we finalized, after discussing internally, and also in the DMI call that we have, once in a while. Yeah, this is one major topic. The description here below, there are some low-level details. Probably you can check it later. I added some additional section to decode the EEPROM data. Can you scroll down a bit? So basically, I have done some tests that we have in our lab. So we have an EdgeCore ASF 16 OLT from EdgeCore, and we also have a RADSS GPON OLT. So the EdgeCore OLT that we have is XGS PON, and the RADSS OLT that we have is a GPON. The RADSS OLT has the SFP plus transceiver, which is, in general, these transceivers are compliant to the SFF specifications from SNI, Storage and Network Industry Association. So the SFP plus modules are, generally compliant to, they are compliant to the SFF 8472 specification, and the QSFP plus transceivers that we had on the EdgeCore XGS PON OLT. It's compatible to the SFF 8436 specification. So we can dump the EEPROM data from these transceivers, and there are a set of bytes which indicate a certain value. Especially if you scroll down a little bit up, Andrea. Okay, down is fine too. So so basically, you could decode the vendor name, vendor OUI, vendor part number, vendor revision, and the downstream wavelength. one or more of this information can be used in to derive the technology of the transceiver. The downstream wavelength itself could be more than enough to decide the technology of the transceiver, but you may sometimes you want to use all the information that is available to you after decoding the EEPROM to make a decision on the technology. But it's quite obvious here in case of combo PON, you have more than one downstream wavelength. We still don't have a way forward on how to decode if a transceiver is combo PON. At this point, I don't have a combo PON to play with. But if I just look at working with Broadcom BAL, I mean, if I look at the number of supported combo PON transceiver types on the Aspen Broadcom chip, it's quite limited. I mean, there are hardly 3 or 4. So you could, it could be as simple as, just looking at, having some checks in your code after decoding the vendor name and part number, if that's a compatible transceiver, combo PON transceiver with your OLT. I mean, that could be a simple check. Yeah, but we haven't finalized anything yet. But for GPON and XGS PON, it's quite simple. The downstream wavelength could just tell you, what's the transceiver type. These are the major, changes and additions from the last version that I presented to you. Any questions? Yeah, and that's all from me, Andrea.
Okay, so I believe one of the next steps, there are a couple of next steps. One is for us to get our hands on a combo LT and a combo transceiver that we can play around with. The second one is to start looking and working with the combo transceiver manufacturers to see if a possible standard could be could come out of the different manufacturers to have the different bytes somewhere to have the second wavelength in there and make sure we can then read the combo PON in a standard way. So I think those are the two things that we're going to work on. In the meantime, we already merged the device management interface change, and the support is already there in BBSIM. So I think on that front, we are good to go. Is there anything else that the Radisys team that has spent some time on the combo PON wants to add?
Well, Andrea, Debo here from Radisys. You're right that we don't have a very generic way of detecting whether a particular transceiver is combo PON or not. However, we do have a Hisense SFP in-house. I think Girish was asking this question. Girish, or you? I think it was Girish, right? Who sent a note earlier today. Yeah. So the answer is Hisense. We have that in the lab and we have a way to read another memory location, 0x58, to know whether this particular transceiver is combo PON or not, right? So we have a way to do it. However, as Shriki mentioned, right, in his email, we are not sure if this is a generic, is this way is a generic way for every other SFPs, combo PON SFPs. This is something we would have to figure out. But yes, for Hisense model that we are using, we have a way to auto detect by reading the EEPROM data.
Okay.
There are 2 address locations which we read, and once we get that data, we will know whether this is GPON, XGS PON, or this particular model of CPON.
Okay. And just curious, what is that? What does that additional memory location indicate? It's another wavelength, or? Yeah. So that's the initial ones are 50 and 51, and this additional one is 58. Basically, there is something called
there's an ONLP API for get control flags. Right, so different bits of that flags parameter of this API would eventually tell us whether it supports whether it is CPON or not. So that's that's the second address location that Shriki mentioned in his email earlier today.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah. And Venkat, if you have anything else on this, you can also chime in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, nothing on this EEPROM front, but I just this flow charts, the sequence diagram. Maybe I'll just go through offline, and maybe in the next call, maybe I can have some questions. But now, as of now, nothing.
Sure.
Thanks both. Yeah, if you could share that information about the second location and the transceiver via email, then we could maybe start actually implementing some of that and putting together a patch to read that technology and that's Girish's work, and see if we can upstream that in the OpenOLT agent.
Yeah, sure. So basically, you're asking for the transceiver make and model, the exact make and model for Hisense, and that address location. Definitely, we can share that offline.
Yeah. Thanks, Debo. Much appreciated. Okay. So the last topic I had for the day, supposedly 5 minutes should be enough, is that, so I was discussing with the Deutsche Telekom team, in particularly Mike, and we were looking at the ordering of VoltCTL output, and at the moment is pretty random. So it's a list, and the list is not ordered, and we just put it out as it is. There is a order by flag, which is -R, and you can specify which element you want the list ordered by. For example, serial number that you can do. But Mike was proposing to have a default ordering based on one argument. So could it be serial number? Could it be device ID? Could it be kind of whatever? Just let's pick one and make that ordering always reproducible in VoltCTL. I would like to hear everybody's thoughts, and if you would like to pick one, which one would it be?
So are we talking for the device list?
Yes.
Personally, I think it would make sense to order them by device type, listing the OLTs first and then the ONUs.
Yes, but then within the ONU, you don't have an ordering because they're the same type.
Well, you can order them by ID as well.
Okay, so it's device type and ID. That makes sense, yes.
While for the flows and the logical device, I think ID is fine. Because otherwise you can get in very complex ordering things with the flows, but I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Mike, Bjorn, would that be okay with you?
If you ask me personally, I would not object, but I would like to hear Mike's opinion on that. So he's more into the topic than me. But nevertheless, I can discuss it tomorrow with him. He's
I think we're on a day.
Yeah, that said, Andrea, I don't have a strong opinion because you can change these via the formatting options. So if there is a different preference,
yeah, you can do -R and add whatever you want.
So whatever works best for the operator, I think it's what we should go with.
Yep. Well, okay, then maybe we can have this. I'll open up a Jira for it, and we can then take it from there.
And just another thing regarding VoltCTL, I haven't created a Jira for it yet, but I'm planning to add a new API to count the logical device flows and the flows, and in general, getting a number of instructions that are installed on a device, so that it's easier to validate things at scale.
That makes total sense to me, Theo. As we discussed, it's much simpler than parsing, than obtaining the full list and doing WC the shell.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will have any issue with that because it's a new API, and if you don't need it, you just don't use it. It won't change anything in the existing APIs. Just wanted to make everyone aware of this coming.
Indeed. Thanks, Theo. Okay. Is there anything else that anybody wants to talk about?
Nothing from me today, Andrea. I think we're done.
Thanks, Raj. Yeah, I think we're done then, and we're right at the top of the hour. So thanks a lot for joining, and we will talk again next week. Please do try out the LWC from analysis. We will do so at ONF, and we will let you know our results. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Andrea. Bye-bye.
Bye.